The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
Hall of Flame, no opinions are the same. Lovely chocolate in the bin for the polls, who will win? Cream soda wrestling, pimple dick ranting, air fryer Brussels sprouts, Maxi often cheats. Hey yo, let's start the show. CWF are set to go. Many movies I won't know, such a fiasco. Max v. Cy was pretty crap, probably won't go back to that. Max needs to wear a hat, and he sometimes cheats. Hogan is a liar, but Barry Windham is the
worst
thing. Hogan is a liar, hear all about it on Chain Wrestling.
Hey yo. How are we doing, everybody?
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Max.
All right. Hey yo, indeed. It is Chain Wrestling Live time in a very unexpectedly warm Gloucester for 8 o'clock at night when we've had rain recently. Didn't expect it, Max. Didn't expect it.
I mean, you should have. It's been warm for a few days. Do you just wake up every morning like Groundhog Day thinking, whatever happened yesterday is not a thing? Oh, it's sunny again.
Oh, fuck me. We're 2 minutes in and you're already starting to take the piss out of me.
Oh, it's going to be a long show for you then.
It feels it, mate. It feels it already. No, what I mean is, it's obviously been warmer again after we had a bit of rain and a few storms and whatever. But I didn't expect it to be this warm at 8 o'clock at night today.
It's muggy. It's very close.
Very close indeed. Yes. We have got so much to get through today, haven't we? We've got a really good.
Nah, not really. Just a bit.
Have we not?
Said. No,
just a bit.
We'll be in and out. This will be like a WCW like mid-90s pay-per-view. In and out, less than 2 hours.
You reckon?
Probably not, knowing us.
No, probably not knowing us. We have got a very nostalgic, for me anyway, wrestling match to look at later on in our show. We, of course, have our non-wrestling topic, which, oh my word, do we get a response to that. My goodness, you lot came out in force for that one. So many great comments and shouts. I'm really looking forward to diving into that, Max.
We give the CWF any chance to stretch their comical chops, and they just bart, don't they? They just absolutely bart.
100%. There is some absolute comedy coming from our wonderful, glorious CWF members on the non-wrestling topic. I've got a bit of a humorous news report to look into, but that won't take long. That'll only take a minute. It's quite a quick one, but there's a couple of lines in it that made me chuckle anyway, because I'm a fucking infant. And of course, Maxie, you have a Wrestling Road story for the end of the evening, which you said I'm not going to enjoy this week. So I'm intrigued as to what it's about.
Well, tune in at the end of the show to find out.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to tune in to find out. But that is at the end of the show, and we are still at the beginning of the show. So here we go. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever maybe you're listening or watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live, an SJP World Media production, episode 175 in total. That's a lot of times we have done this.
143 actual live.
Yeah, 175 episodes, 175 links in the chain.
It does. That is it. Well, there's been a few that maybe the chain has broke a little bit, but yeah,
No, you can trace it from episode 1 right the way to present day, mate. That's what
Okay.
our show's based upon. Don't fucking
Yeah,
ruin that.
I mean, I've been here for about 170 of those 175
Yeah,
episodes.
so don't fucking ruin it.
I'm just
Anyway.
saying, there's some times when you have used the tenuous of tenuous links.
Me, yeah? Me.
Yes.
Our own theme tune, our own music to start the show says that you often cheat.
That's at other things.
Oh, right. Well, like Monopoly or Snakes and Ladders and shit. Okay. Cluedo, right, yeah, okay. Anyway, I am Si, and with me, as always, is the Randy Savage to my Lily Savage, but only on the weekends. The UK Rampage to my UK Old Age, and that's pretty much all week round. A podcaster who, let's be honest, made quite a disturbing image for YouTube this week. It's quite a tricky wank, but I'm sure people will power through. Lord Mags, how are you, my friend?
I mean, you say disturbing, some say erotic. It's horses for courses, and I've always thought that you had a look of Lily Savage. I just couldn't pin it down. Yeah, it's the beard, yeah.
It's
and
the beard,
the very sensual, not at all deep voice.
Well, of course.
I bet you'd look good in a cocktail dress and high heels and a big bouffant blonde wig.
Well, not the blonde wig, but you made me in a cocktail dress and so on for the image on YouTube. That's just behind us, actually. I wonder if I can show people. How can I do that, Maxie? What can I do? What can I press?
Remove. Let's come back. There we go.
There we go. It's tricky, isn't it? Yeah, I think the purple sequins, they suit me. I think that's a good look.
I've never wanted to motorboat you any more than I do right now.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the Liz picture, is it?
I mean, no, but that will be in my head tonight. Oh, yeah, that sounds
fantastic.
Weird. That sounds
that does
weird.
sound very weird. That does sound very strange indeed. Shall we dive into the chat and see what people are saying?
Is not banned yet. Yeah, firstly, Matt is not banned yet. Could happen if he carries on. But it says log on to the stream. First words, tricky wank. What the fuck did he miss? We'll start with Pigs Bladders. Hello, sir. How are you? Hope you're doing well. He says evening genticles. And then the first lady, well, now the first lady wasn't the first lady last week of the SJP World Media Network. So Sharon says it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. How are you doing, Sharon? Hope you're doing well. And she was an absolute gem and reposted this stream. So all of you, Sharon is already one step ahead of you. So you want to be next week's first lady of the CWF, then you know what you need to do. And then Sharon,
the pinned tweet, if you would, please.
Yes. And Sharon then ruins all the goodwill by saying that I made the chain wonky. No, listen, I will not take the blame. Sal lets me get away with it. So whose fault is that? He should rein me in.
Should I? Yeah. Okay.
And then
you remember
Pigs Bladders asking what we all are asking. Where's your net gone?
What, here or on that picture?
I'm assuming he means on the picture. So I'll hold my hands up to this. This is my fault. I not ripped, that's not a horrible word, but I took a picture with Cy made it transparent PNG, and then it removed half of his beard, his ear, and his neck. So it kind of went for the Mankind vibe. Oh yeah, and you were doing a thumbs up, weren't you?
Because my picture was basically, I sent you a picture of me at work going, and it cut my thumb out, didn't it? Of that, yeah.
Yeah. So it just going for Mankind vibes.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. It's going to be fun. I can feel it already. I can feel the silliness rising. Yeah, rising through my bones. Magsy, have you got anything for us this week before we dive into the non-wrestling topic and maybe a bit from the news and so on?
No, I don't think so. I think it's been a quiet week for me, all told. Just getting prepared for this weekend's gluttony of wrestling. So we've
Oh my
got
word, Jess.
AEW All In, which looks like an absolute banger card. Then we've got Saturday's night's main event with Goldberg's potential last ride. That looks fun. Then we've got Evolution, which was, if any other time, it would have been brilliant to have another WWE All Women's card, but it's clearly being booked to counter program AEW, which is a bit shitty because they've not really given the storylines a lot of time to breathe, but that's still going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's a busy bloody weekend for wrestling this weekend.
Isn't there also some TNA are doing something on NXT as well?
Yeah, so NXT, is that the Great American Bash NXT?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And then is it Slammiversary for TNA as well?
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. So it's all happening this weekend, which is it's fun, but it's going to be a lot of wrestling.
It is, mate. It is. I watched a bit of Monday Night Raw this week.
Oh, I mean, I watch the highlights like on YouTube, but I don't watch the show.
Well, me and Charlie watched it purely because Seth Rollins versus Penta was advertised. So we were both like, oh, hello, fantastic. So we put it on and we watched bits, fast forwarded through others on Netflix and so on. First of all, it's difficult, isn't it, doing that now? Skipping forward on Netflix because it doesn't show you what's happening whilst you're fast forwarding. So you don't know what you're missing. That's quite frustrating.
Exactly. It is.
You know, when we used to record Raw and SmackDown every week on the old cable box straight from from Sky Sports or BT or whatever it was, at least you could see what you were skipping, so you knew when to stop. My God, it's frustrating doing it this way.
And when you watch it after the fact as well, when it was on the network, you used to get markers for when something happened, like when a match started or there was a promo, so you could skip to that. It's not on Netflix. You don't get any of that. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. But yeah, we watched Penta Rollins, and that was a very, very enjoyable match. That was very good. Did you see that contest, Max?
I didn't. I saw the aftermath with LA Knight, doing the attack.
Yeah.
Good to see that he's getting pushed back into like the main event picture. I watched a Cultaholic video today, and apparently the end game for Seth Rollins and his crew is a Bron Breakker breakaway to take Paul Heyman with him. So that's an interesting way of finishing up that storyline.
So as a heel, I'm assuming. So Seth going babyface?
I mean, you would assume it's as a heel because Paul Heyman works best with heels, doesn't he?
Yes. So we're talking Seth as the babyface, aren't we?
Apparently so. According to, I mean, it's probably Shagger Dave or SRS at Fightful. Bron Breakker is being pinned as maybe the face of the company for the next few years. So
right.
That's where we're going with that, I think.
Ah, interesting. There we go. So you mean Goldberg's not going to be hanging around then, no?
Well, he did wear a T-shirt saying it's Goldberg's last ride.
Yeah.
But wrestlers bullshit a hell of a lot, don't they? So is it his last ride? Will he end up being champion? Will they ruin wrestling again? Who knows?
I actually look at this weekend and just try and enjoy from a pure nostalgia standpoint. You've got Trish Stratus back on the Sunday, and you've got Goldberg back on the Saturday. It's like
Trish Stratus is in the title match as well, isn't it?
It's fantastic, isn't it?
And the Bellas apparently going to be back.
I don't give a shit about that. It's all about Trish for me, mate.
Fair enough. I mean, is Trish into Trish and Elizabeth HLA?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I mean, it'd be tricky to set up now, but by the way that, of course, Liz is dead.
But you are Liz, literally in the picture.
I am Liz, right.
Yeah.
I am Liz and Lily Savage at the same time.
Lizzie Savage. Miss Elizabeth Savage. That could have been a movie title right there.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. And before we get on to that, Magsy, I've only got one little thing that popped out in the news over the last couple of weeks or last week or so that stood out. And I thought it'd be interesting just to get your thoughts. Well, a couple of serious matters, really, but it's more the wording of things that actually made me chuckle. And it concerns our friends, in the thin blue line, the front line against fighting crime for us, the police.
Friends.
And how obviously how incredibly serious they take their jobs, how they all, to a man and woman, of course, apply themselves with the utmost professionalism in every circumstance. And your headline reads, Policeman sacked after farting in female officer's face. Um, not a good start. I'm not going to lie. Not a good start. Uh, one individual, apparently, one policeman here has been sacked for asking a female colleague to, and I quote, pull his finger. Whilst the lady officer declined his comical offer, he turned, tilted his leg, and I'm quoting directly from the newspaper here, to a 45-degree angle. I feel that's quite important, the specifics of that. The way they've worded it, it must be quite an important fact.
45 degrees is not a lot of degrees.
It's not, but that's why they specified 45. So I'm assuming it must be the correct angle with the least amount of effort. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Okay.
Because they're efficient if they're not anything, are they, the police? So the PC Sansom tilted his leg to a 45-degree angle before breaking wind just 10 to 15 centimetres from the horrified woman's face at the police station in November of 2021.
Right.
He was then relieved of his duties and sent home and no longer works for the police, apparently. There's a second one, however, that's a little bit more serious.
Okay.
What this individual has done, I do not condone. It is not okay. But his defence is kind of where I think.
So that implies you condone the farting one.
Well, I think that she's got to hold her hands up a little bit. If she pulled her finger, it would have been a different situation, wouldn't it?
And how was she 10 to 15 centimeters away from his arse? If he cocked his leg, if he cocked his leg 45 degrees, which is,
yeah,
bear in mind, it's nowhere near 90 degrees, so it's not like his leg straight out. It's halfway.
Mm-hmm.
She must have either bent down to get like that close to his arse,
and 15 centimeters, it said,
or she must be a little person. About a little person, we mean the kind that used to wrestle in the WWF in like the mid-90s.
See, I'm not gonna lie.
Max Mini.
My mind actually conjured up an image of her being sat down, and he was stood up.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's the obvious one. But
that's where my mind went. But now you've mentioned it, I can't get the image out of a policeman farting on a dwarf out of my head. That's that's who knows? Look, that could be a T-shirt in the merch sale coming up.
Two sensible people thinking the same thing at once. She could have been sat down.
Yes, rather than straight away. You know, she was crouched down or whatever.
Two sensible people go for a sensible idea. The idiot goes for, well, she must have been a midget.
Indeed. Fellow cop Ben Jeffries has also been sacked from the police force. This situation is slightly different, Magsy, and I don't condone what this individual has done, but I feel his defence is comical in itself. This individual was asked by a female colleague to take her phone and use the Apple Pay, the scanny, jobby, to get her a bottle of water, which he did. Returned her phone after buying this bottle of water. When she checked the phone, she discovered an explicit image of him on her phone. Now, that is not good, and rightfully so. This individual was sacked because that's disgusting behaviour. However, his defence, when questioned about this, simply read, I don't understand why she's getting so offended. It's just a picture of my balls. How can your mind work that way? What a fucking loser.
I mean, that's nobody wants unasked for, unwarranted pictures of your cock and balls. Never in the history of dating has some girl said, "Oh, I proper fancy that bloke, and I'm going to give him a go because he sent me a picture of his dick and balls." What do people get out of it? You just look like a twat, you act like a twat, and you are outed like a twat. What a pillock. Got exactly what he deserved. He should have just farted in the face and got him to pull his finger.
That's it. Pull my finger, little person. I just thought that those fine examples of our British police force needed to be brought up to the CWF and your good self, Mags.
Yeah, I mean, the first one I have a lot of sympathy for because
Do you?
not the fact that he's, yeah, I don't. Would you get sacked for playing pull my finger on someone?
Well, I think it's more so that he literally farted in her face from that close, according to the report.
But why was her face there? That's not something you go telling tales out of school about, is it? You have a laugh or you go, "Oh, you dirty animal," and you move on. You don't. Would you file a complaint about that? I mean, it's going to smell for 30 seconds and then you fucking move on with your day.
I'm not sure the smell is the worst part of this, though.
What, do with some splatter?
Maybe it was a fine mist coming through the fabric of his police issue trousers.
Like Tajira. She got Tajira. No, I've got a little bit of sympathy with that because as a bloke, I find things like that funny. I mean,
okay, yeah.
Farting is inherently hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, but the second one, absolutely no way on God's green earth that sending pictures of your fucking meat and two veg is any way acceptable in any shape or form. So he got exactly what he deserved. He should be in jail.
The response, though, his defense. I don't know what she's getting offended about.
That
just
shows
a picture of my balls.
That shows that
what an idiot.
That the arrogance of blokes, though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Not all blokes, obviously. Most, probably.
Blokes are knobheads. As a bloke, I can say sorry for everything that we do. We are pricks.
We are. On the note of stupidity, shall we dive into our non-wrestling topic, Max?
We shall. Let's go for it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Non-wrestling topic time.
Good God Almighty, there will be no wrestling talk here. Business is about to pick up on chain wrestling. Side Lord Max, please cut it out.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Not sitting comfortably at all, are you, sir?
Pardon? I didn't realise we were back then, sorry.
Brilliant. Classy as always, sir. Classy as always.
I've just poured myself a can of this. It's Monster Reserve. Orange Dreamsicle, it says. Yeah.
Very sweet.
Now, I've never tried this before.
Like ridiculously sweet. Yeah.
I'm a little concerned by the colour. But I just had a little sniff of it.
I mean, what do you expect? What colour did you expect it to be?
Well, it looks like Lucozade, doesn't it? It looks kind of like
piss.
You know?
Piss, eh?
It's oh my word. It is sweet, isn't it? Oh. Dear me. Very orangey.
Shockingly orange.
Shockingly orange, yes.
I never expected this orange dreamsicle drink to be so orange.
Indeed. Indeed. Our non-wrestling topic this week was inspired literally by the picture you see on your screen. I saw this on Twitter. I thought this, or was it Facebook I saw it on? I can't remember now. Either way, I thought...
I saw it on WhatsApp when somebody sent it me.
Yeah, I'll get into that. I saw it and I thought, that's quite funny. I'm going to send this to Magsy. It's Indiana Jones and the Legion of Doom, as opposed to the Temple of Doom. And I don't know why, but it just really tickled me. So Magsy and I had a little
Because
chat, and we
puns.
decided that, but yeah, puns and silliness. Wordplay is fun, Magsy, of course. Magsy and I decided that this week's non-wrestling topic will be a little bit of a rule breaker, or a bending of the rules, maybe, because we're involving wrestling in the non-wrestling topic section of the show.
We've done that a couple of times recently.
I think we need to be a bit more cautious in the future.
What is a rule if you can't break it now and again?
See, the way you've brought that up now, maybe 3 or 4 times already, 25 minutes into the show, has got me a little concerned as to where you're going to link to later on.
Oh, no. Don't. That's the least thing you should be worried about in my contribution in this show.
Oh God, that road story is going to be an issue, is it? Okay. So Magsy and I were decided, okay, why don't you guys give us some of your best movies, TV shows, etc., either improved or ruined, of course, by the involvement of a wrestler. Give us the name, or if you wanted to, give us the plot, the story, whatever. Just run with the idea and see what you come out with. I'm not going to lie, Mags, there was a moment where I thought, this could absolutely die on its arse. This could prove to be quite tricky. It's one of those non-wrestling topics that I thought, bit of a wobbly one, might have to have a backup. But holy shit, did the CWF knock it out of the park with this?
Like I said earlier, you give the great people of the CWF a way to be funny. They run with it, absolutely run with it, and they are way better than we could ever imagine. So we doubt them, and they just keep knocking it out of the park with it. So.
Indeed. So I will read these out in the order they came into us, kind of, as best I can. Little heads up before we dive in, Magsy. I have got 2 different sections from our friend on the other side of the world, Chris Mangle, all the way from Ramsey Street, of course. So I have to make sure you keep an eye on that. And we have got some from Mr. Lewis partway through that has come via WhatsApp as well.
Of
so
course.
I'll just give you a heads up. I know how much you enjoy that. But we begin with the fountain of knowledge, the full of conversation as always, Jimmy Evans, a guy who sometimes I think goes overboard with how much he types. Jimmy,
calm down,
Evans
Jimmy lad.
on Twitter. Yeah, calm down, mate, calm down. Jimmy says, "Full House of Black." Now that is quite good. I like that.
Very clever. I don't think I've got Jimmy's on my list, but never mind.
Okie doke. We go to Rob at UTT Rob via Twitter as well. And he says, "The Sound of Music featuring Tank Abbott. How do you solve a problem like Maria? Tank Abbott has been round the convent and solved the problem. The Von Trapp children need discipline. A training montage later, they are no longer ready for the stage. They're ready for the octagon."
Amazing. I mean, Tank Abbott has form as well with musicals because he was involved with 3 Count for a time in his CW run.
Yeah, that's very true. The Nazis have occupied Austria. A few straight fights and double leg takedowns, and he'll have the Wehrmacht tapping out. A song contest, you say? Rob continues. The hills are alive with the sound of Tank.
I mean, in the war, they probably were alive with the sound of tanks.
Yeah,
not the kind of tank we know and love.
No, exactly. High on the hill was a lonely goat herd. Yes, because he's hiding from Tank Abbott. And for the trivia section at the bottom of IMDb, 16 going on 17 was the amount of thousands of dollars Tank actually got paid per punch in WCW.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
There we go. Rob Ogre continues and says, "Damn it, Goodwill Huntington Beach was right there for Tank Abbott hometown tie-in. Oh well, there's always next time.
That's a sequel. I mean,
Yeah.
keep the audience wanting more. That's the quality of a film. I would happily go to the cinema and watch Tank absolutely destroy the Von Trapps in The Sound of Music featuring Tank. As long as he got top billing.
People all over the place. Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, got to be the star. At Connor Knows Footy on Twitter, they say The Traitors, featuring Hulk Hogan, Seth Rollins, and Shawn Michaels because of all the turns.
What about Big Show? Big Show's got to be in there.
Oh, Big Show turned.
He'd be the final boss. Yeah, Big Show will turn like 6 times in a year.
Yeah, that's true. The 3 that Connor has selected there, would you say those are the... there's a shout, I think, for all 3 of those. Maybe Michael's being the weakest. All 3 of those being...
Oh, it will be, yeah, because it's your boy.
No, the weakest, Sean being, I said. The weakest, is some of the most memorable heel turns in history. Obviously, Hogan with the NWO. Rollins with... You'd argue Cena now, I suppose, as well, wouldn't you?
Would you say Shawn's was the weakest? I mean, it was so long ago, and yet it's still talked about.
That's true. It is very memorable, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. Throwing old Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window and not super kicking like everyone thinks.
No.
So he's the only one who's got a Mandela effect on his. So I think it's arguable that his was one of the biggest.
Well, he does super kick him.
No, but it's always super kicked him through the window. But he doesn't.
No,
he super kicks him and throws him through the window.
He does indeed. He does indeed. Graham, at MGB Graham on Twitter, we have, featuring The Undertaker's brother, Citizen Kane.
Citizen. It's got to be Kane! It's got to be Citizen Kane!
That's a totally different movie, isn't it, with Kane involved?
It is.
Mask, full gear, the whole shebang. We have here... I'm gonna have to read it off the screen because I've cut it off in the wrong place on my phone. I do apologise. Chat, Grapple, and Cheap Pops podcast, and they say it's essentially the movie Seven, but starring Dan Severn and Don Fire. They are the same. They are the detectives. That's a fine set of mustaches there, isn't it?
And to add to that, the bad guy, instead of being John Doe, could be Dustin Rhodes as Seven.
Oh. Yes.
Old Kiddie Fiddler. They're hunting a Kiddie Fiddler who chops his own fingerprints off.
There's like so much wonderful TNA wrestling on YouTube, and you can just go on there and pick a random. I pick a random TNA pay-per-view to put on in bed and quite often and so on. I put one on the other night, and it was completely by chance because I don't know the time frame off the top of my head, but it just so happened to feature Dustin Rhodes when he was Black Rain. Oh my God, was it fucking terrible?
He was not in a good place at that time.
No.
He was very rotund, shall we say.
Yeah, not a good place. Not a good place. At Real Chris Bellis on Twitter, they say, Barbie, but all the Kens are played by the Bastion Booger. Ugh.
Jesus. I mean, I've not seen the Barbie film.
I have.
Why am I not surprised?
It's crap.
But it's not. You're not the target audience. I'm assuming.
This is true. But we at Christmas we always pick a movie to watch. All of us Christmas Eve together, sit down, and Shah makes like big elaborate hot chocolates with cream and marshmallows. I can say mushrooms. Then that's not right. Marshmallows, not mushrooms in your hot chocolate. That's a different drink.
Wouldn't the mushrooms drink the hot chocolate and swallow?
They probably would. They probably would. But this one particular year, the Barbie movie was chosen by, may even have been Our Lives, which is kind of out of character for her, to be honest. But one of the girls chose it anyway. When it finished, all of us, even my girls, were like, "That was very, very bad." So yeah, it's not a good look, mate.
I
It's
mean,
not
I don't intend seeing it, but it would be infinitely worse with Bastion Booger rather than, is it Ryan Gosling who's the Ken character in that?
That's the thing, they're all Kens. So every male character is
Who-
Ken. Because it's
in the whole film.
Yes, because it's like, you know how you get different types of Barbie, don't you? Like
Oh,
stay-at-home
okay,
Barbie,
okay.
Malibu Beach House Barbie,
Stay-at-home
Smack Rat
Barbie. Was there a
um,
Barbie called Stay-at-home Barbie?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of things.
Why was that your first Barbie to go to then? You
Because
are
Barbie was
outing
devised
yourself as a misogynist
in the
there,
50s.
sir.
Barbie was devised in what, the 1950s? So that was the right or wrong back at that time.
So
Things may evolve.
housewife Barbie.
Smack Rat
Seen and
Barbie,
not heard Barbie.
where she's incredibly thin and has track marks up her arms. Comes with a little needle and a hole, and you got to pop it in. You know, have you seen that one? That's
No.
that's a bit very niche merchandise that was. But yeah, all the Kens are different. Are different versions of Ken in this film. So yeah, there you go.
Sharon in the chat, it was Liv, and she's now banned from picking movies. Amazing. Absolutely
Let us
amazing.
know your opinion in the chat then. The versions of Barbie you're familiar with. We just had Smack Rat Barbie. What other versions of Barbie would they make? Do you think they could actually make some money from? Let us know in the chat. I'm going to regret that, aren't I?
You are. As rightly you should.
Yeah, I should. I never learn. Ben at Largely Speaking on Twitter, he says, School of Shamrock. And it's Ken Shamrock leading the School of Rock film that Jack Black was in. And he simply says, those kids will get mauled. Shamrock trying to teach
Read
people
between
how
the
to play
fucking
drums.
lines. That's an amazing. I love School of Rock.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, somebody like
film.
mistimes the bass line and Shamrock just fucking suplexes them through the school window?
Just beats the living shit out of just
Dear me. At Pig Splatters, the film The Abyss. But it's starring Abyss.
And that is a quality movie poster as well.
That is great, isn't it? That is great. All the images that we have that accompany these non-wrestling topic shouts, you can find via our X Twitter page at @chain_wrestling. If you want to go have a little look, they've all been retweeted by us, so go and have a little look. There's some wonderful artwork that everyone's contributed here. It's fantastic stuff.
Superb.
Chris Lewis at Chris Lewis 37 on Twitter. He goes for a slightly different approach, Max. A slightly different twist on what we're looking for. And he says, probably a bit too dark and twisted. Apologies if so, but Harry Potter and the Chamber of Jimmy Savile.
It's very dark.
It is.
It's a kid's film and everything, that.
I think that was the aim, to play on that kids' film situation. What other Harry Potter films are there? You could have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Jimmy Savile. That's another one, isn't it?
I mean, they don't all have to be involving the worst sex offender that's ever been in living memory.
Well, no, but I'm just trying to carry on the theme that Chris has put forward, you see.
Okay. So we're going to have 7 Harry Potter films where he gets molested by a northern blonde-haired DJ.
What's the bad guy's name in Harry Potter? Voldemort?
Voldemort. Yeah.
Savile could have played that role.
I mean, Savile would have probably touched up Voldemort as well.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. And he would have
definitely
gone. He'll have gone for Hermione and Ginny. That's for damn sure.
Dear me. Just turning around to his wand now then. At Pig's Bladders on Twitter sends us another one. And this is...
I'm going to touch your willy, Harry Potter.
Oh my God. Have you seen that thing on Facebook, by the way? I think it's on Facebook. And it's like paragraphs or a couple of sentences from Harry Potter books, but they've used an editing process, and it changes the word wand to willy.
Okay.
Have you seen
No, I've
this?
not
It's
seen that.
fucking
No.
hysterical. It's so funny. It's like Professor Snape angrily turns to Harry, scorns him for his lack of effort in school, and says, "That's enough, now, Potter. Willie out," and all this sort of stuff. It's so funny.
And then Samuel's in the corner. Oh. Dan Griffin in the chat. Savile would have made young Voldemort his Horcrux.
Oh dear
And
me.
then he says he's actually a bit ashamed of that one. Nope, you've
That
gone
is,
with
yeah.
it. Never
It's out there
regret
now.
anything. Yeah.
It's out there now. If I can find that Harry Potter stuff where they've changed the word wand to Willie, I'll send it, yeah, and I'll put it out on the Chain Wrestling account as well, because it's just ridiculously funny. It's kind of the sad, immature humour that I enjoy. At Pigs Bladders on Twitter, this one is fucking fantastic. And I think this should be. I know I say this about a lot of things, tongue in cheek, trying to be daft, but this one I genuinely believe could be a T-shirt. I think it's that fucking good. In the style of Rick and Morty, we have Rick and Mortis, and it's Ric Flair with the WCW wrestler Mortis.
That's brilliant.
That is absolutely
That's amazing.
fucking brilliant.
What a graphic as well.
With your permission, I'd love to turn that into a T-shirt. That is so fucking cool. I love it so much. Until, of course, it gets took down because we're breaking copyright regulations, which we got hit with this week, Mags. Did I tell you this?
No, you didn't. On what?
Oh.
On the T-shirts?
On one of our T-shirts, yeah.
Which T-shirt?
The WrestleMania logo chain wrestling T-shirt. But not this year's. One from about 3 years ago. And the WrestleMania Hollywood design.
Oh yeah. So who copyrighted that? Was that WWF?
No, it was the Hollywood Financial Regulators or something like that.
Oh, the cheeky bastards.
Because it says Hollywood on it. Yeah. Naughty, innit?
Wow.
Yeah. What are the chances, eh?
So you're not allowed to. So if you've got that T-shirt now, that's a collector's item.
Well, Ray, our good friend Ray, who has found the show via the links with Elite FPL through Steve-O promoting us so much. Ray actually owns that and wears it quite a bit, and it looks amazing on him. Sadly, that T-shirt has had to be took down from being on sale. If you want one, message me. I can sort something out. But there we go.
That sounds like you are going to flout the legal proceedings there, sir.
Absolutely
Wink.
not. What's going to happen? If they sue me, honestly, what's the worst that can happen? What do I own? What can they take from me? A broken push bike and some heavy metal CDs? Fuck me. Come on.
They would happily take that broken push bike.
Yeah, pricks. We go to Australia. We head to Ramsey Street. We kick old Harold Bishop out the way, and we go and speak to our good friend Chris Mangle at Mangle_Chris, coming to us from all the way on the other side of the world. He says, "An American Nightmare on Elm Street. A bleach blonde suit-wearing grandson of a plumber stalks local high school students." That is fantastic.
That's brilliant wordplay as well.
An American Nightmare on Elm Street. He only wants to shake hands with them and offer signed photos. The scariest part is the neck tattoo. If you wheel, he's written here.
and he's stretched out the L's to if you will. That's the finish.
That is so good. Thank you, Chris. But Chris continues. He is not done, Magsy. He is not done. The Hurt Syndicate Locker.
Brilliant.
Okay. MVP, MJF, Shelton and Bobby Lashley dismantle AEW local competitors and lock them in the Hurt Syndicate locker afterwards. If they manage to escape, they run into Lance Archer in the corridor, so it's a sad ending anyway.
I mean, what would you rather, stay in the locker or get absolutely destroyed by Lance Archer? No, there's no win there.
Indeed. These random TNA pay-per-views I've been putting on as well. If you go and check some out from sort of, I think it's 05, 06, that kind of time. Dan Griffin will probably be able to shout in the chat more so than me. But sorry, I'm probably making a lot of noise with my mouth and so on. Because I've just had a mouthful of that orange drink, and it's incredibly fun as that's going through on the microphone. But yeah, Lance Archer is in TNA back in those days, but
Yeah.
he's clean shaven. He's obviously
Lance
not.
Hoyt, is it? When he's
That's
in
right. Yeah,
TNA.
yeah. He's clean shaven, and he's not, shall we say, found the correct protein shake yet
Because
to
he's very
improve his
slab, isn't he? He's very thin.
physique. Yeah, he's not eating enough chicken breast, or I taking enough steroids. I guess I don't fucking know.
Arca Pro.
Yeah, Icopro. That must be what it is. That must be what it is. Chris has more for us though, Magsy.
Oh, he's got a lot more.
He has indeed. He has indeed. The crying. It's all about the game. Mid card nasally blessed. Oh, that's brilliant. Mid-card nasally blessed wrestler whinges for hours about how he was punished for a curtain call and his inevitable push was curtailed. Talent
Brilliant.
always rises to the top, and in the end, he does. Unrelated to marrying the boss's daughter, cozying up to Shawn Michaels, or the fact he was given a female bodyguard to help him stand out.
Brilliant.
The crying game. Fantastic.
I think Chris has nailed Triple H's career
Yeah.
to a T right there.
100%. Just wanted to be Ric Flair in the Horseman. But yeah,
Really,
it's funny, isn't it, as well?
He was the Lex Luger, wasn't he?
I think so. And I think there's an argument for when Triple H used to come out and not wet his hair, that he did look kind of like 1987 Lex Luger as well. Because it's quite fluffy and light, wasn't it?
But Lex has always looked decent, where Triple H...
It's the conk, isn't it? You're on about.
He's got a
pointing
huge
at the nose, aren't you?
nose, yeah. He's got a huge
He has
nose.
a big schnoz. Imagine the amount of cocaine he could fit up there, eh?
He never did, though, did he? He's seen interviews, and he was always the designated driver for the clique because he was clean. He was very clean living.
Apparently so. Apparently so. So good luck to him.
So Shawn had his share, which was a big share.
It was a massive share with those nostrils. My word. Dan Griffin at Dan Griffin at 21 on Twitter. He says, Indiana Jones, War Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Brilliant.
They'd be less subtle, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Less subtle, sneaking around the Nazi campsites and whatnot.
They'd just go in and destroy the Nazis.
Indeed. Indeed. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull 8-ball and chains.
Which would fit in perfectly due to them being actual Nazis.
Yeah, they were, weren't they, the old Harris brothers?
Yeah, they were.
They were, was it Russo's security in WCW for a bit as well?
Yeah, was it D&D security, what they called in the show?
That's it. That's it. Rosemary's Adam Cole baby. That's quite good.
I mean, it works on two levels as well with Rosemary from TNA.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. I don't think he meant to do that, but it works.
No, I don't think so either, but we'll take it. We'll take it. A Samoan werewolf in London.
Brilliant. And Jacob Fatu is maybe my favourite wrestler at the moment.
Could you imagine him running around London late at night, though? Just roaring.
He'd be terrifying. He'd be absolutely terrifying. Yeah. All gas, no brakes.
Charlotte Flair's web.
That's it.
Yeah,
a good one.
Yeah, okay. And this one is, I think this one's the best of the lot.
This is clever.
Ferris Bueller McGillicuddy's Day Off. I love that.
Nailed it. That's brilliant.
That is so good. That is so good.
She was the girl who, did she get pregnant with Raven when she was meant to be Tommy Dreamer's girlfriend?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then wasn't she cheating? Is she the one, or was it Francine who was cheating with the Asian lady? And then Tommy just went, "I'll take them both." And it was
that was her. I think that was her.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she was actually married to Tommy Dreamer in real life, weren't she?
Do you know? I don't know. She may well have been.
Yeah. ECW, man. What a strange place. Matt Lewis on WhatsApp. Do you want to do this one now, Maxie, or come back to it at the end?
No, go for it.
Yep. Okay.
In the order that they come in.
Okie doke. The Brocky Horror Picture Show. It's just the jump to the left and then an F5 to the right.
And then Brock will piss on you whilst
Yeah.
masturbating.
And somebody else will film it for Vince.
Yes.
Shaun of
Oh, Jesus.
Shaun of the Dead, starring Shawn Michaels. Sweet
Where
chin
he took
music
an
instead of
overdose.
cricket bands. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. Where he lost his smile and his cocaine.
I think he was effectively a zombie from 2001 to about 2004-ish, wasn't he? If you speak to his wife.
And around 1995 to 97 as well.
Yeah, the difference was, though, he was brilliant in the ring at that time.
I
Apparently,
mean, a
after
functioning
WrestleMania 17,
drugaholic.
apparently after WrestleMania 17, he didn't get off the sofa because he simply couldn't, because he was so drugged up to the eyeballs. So proper zombie effect there, isn't it? That's commitment to the acting role.
Yeah, and he wasn't even with the company. So that is selling a character.
It is indeed. Overselling, which Sean is prone to do.
Perfectly known for.
Matt continues. The Hitman's Bodyguard, starring Bret Hart as a morally conflicted Canadian bouncer.
Brilliant one. Dan's got one in the chat. Uncle Buck Zoomhoff.
Bucks. Oh, okay. Dr. Wu, we've got here. Ric Flair is now the Doctor. Every companion is his ex-wife.
Jeez, he'd be the longest serving Doctor in history then.
Oh, would he ever? Gavin and Stacey Keebler. What's occurring? Mostly awkward double dates and spinning heel kicks from WWE's leggy legend, he says here.
And lots of panning cameras from the floor upwards.
That cameraman was doing God's work, my friend. As was his lesser leveled colleague working for TNA whenever the Beautiful People would make their entrance too. Big fan. Live at the Apollo Cruise. Stand-up comedy? Absolutely not. Just Apollo doing moonsaults for 2 hours.
And a Nigerian accent halfway through.
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah.
He's picked up Kofi's random accent that he put down, and just
and then moved it a few countries on.
There you go. And he says here, Matt, this is a special just for his lordship for good measure. Only fools and horsemen. Dalboy and Rodney tried to get John Cena or The Rock to advocate their latest quick get-rich scheme, but the only one they convince is Barry Windham. Leave Barry alone, you bastard. What's he ever done to you?
Yeah, fuck Barry Windham.
No, not fuck Barry Windham. Barry Windham's a fucking legend.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see later in the show.
Oh, dear. We have more from the other side of the world. At Mangot_Chris continues, and he says, Curtis Axel F. Mr. Perfect's baby boy. See, I can't hear that now without going ding, ding, because of that fucking frog, and it's ruined it for me. Ruined. Mr. Perfect's baby boy fails his exams and goes to Beverly Hills to fight crime. I'd watch that.
Really, though, I mean, Curtis Axel was a charisma vacuum.
He was.
He was not his father's son in terms of getting the crowd to give a shit.
Or even his grandfather's grandson.
I mean, it was more like Larry than Kurt.
Yeah, indeed. Chris continues. In honor of my fellow countrymen,
I love that he's living the gimmick.
I love that he's totally invested in this now. There's no fighting this. We've done this for like 100
He's tried fighting it. He's tried his best to fight it.
He's on board now. He's like, fuck it. Si's going to say that I'm on the cast of Neighbours every time I appear on the show now. Fuck it. I might as well just get on board. Chris says, in honor of my fellow countryman, Crocodile Bill Dundee. Oh, I love it so much. That is wonderful. A small but feisty Aussie moves to the USA, where he spends 2 decades in fisticuffs with Jerry Lawler until one day he takes a trip from Memphis to Universal Studios, is handed a brolly and a bowler hat, and is transformed into a butler for Stephen Regal. It is, of course, demeaning for any Australian to pretend to be a Brit, but the pay is good, and as it gets him away from a son who loves rap music but hates his dad, and gets him away from Jeff Jarrett constantly asking, "Ain't I great?"
This is a movie. This is a genuine story for a movie. This should happen.
It is. It is. And all that stuff there, the Memphis references and so on, that is so good by Chris. That is wonderful. In an alternative ending, Chris says, our hero meets a grisly fate. Oh no. When he goes out drinking with Skinner, Steve Kern.
What was that reaction? Oh no.
Oh no. We don't want him to die, but it looks like Chris is going to write him out. Like Harold Bishop stood on top of a cliff and having a tumble. Or
is he leaving a cliffhanger for Crocodile Bill Dundee 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo. In an alternative ending, our hero meets a grisly fate when he goes out drinking with Skinner Steve Kern, who takes his crocodile nickname too literally. The final shot is Dundee stuffed and mounted by Skinner.
There's no sequel there, I don't think. We might get a prequel.
That's very difficult to come back from, isn't it, when you write the end of a film like that?
And losing to Skinner as well. I mean, whoever did that? Wasn't Bill Dundee the pervert he won?
No,
sure.
Wasn't that just Jerry Lawler?
No, well, I mean, he was definitely the pervert, but I'm sure there was an old school wrestler who was doing a podcast, and I can't remember for the life of me whose podcast it was, but he used to tell tales of Bill Dundee being essentially a sexual deviant. He used to like girls standing on glass tables and
no, you're thinking of Tony Schiavone's podcast, and he is talking about a stagehand in WCW who used to
mentions Bill Dundee a lot. Like,
Bill Dundee's a fucking rockman as well, I think.
He would get women to, like the ring rats, to wear their underwear for days on end because he loved the musky smell.
That's the guy that Tony Schiavone speaks about who he used to.
Sorry then, Bill Dundee, for lumping you in with that, but I thought it was him.
I can't remember the guy's name, but it's like he was he'd work backstage and was like he'd drive the trucks and build things. So like know the Doomsday cage, the 3-stage cage.
Yeah.
He built that, and he would they just give him a drawing and he'd go and make it and stuff like that. Like.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but it's going to come to me at some point. But yeah, he was a regular mention on Tony Schiavone's podcast at the very beginning.
And a pervert. Apologies to Bill Dundee then. I wrongly labelled you as a different pervert.
Indeed. At Niche Guy back on Twitter, we have you, me, and Rene Dupree.
Quality one by Ryan there.
Would he come with that bloody dog though? That's the problem.
Fifi, of course, and he would end the film doing the French tickler.
The little dance like that.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do, isn't it? And Taz,
I don't think he did it quite like that.
No, I'm a French. Well, I obviously did it far more masculine than Rene Dupree did.
2 weeks they're on.
Oh, there you go, mate. There you go. Steve-O at EliteFPL_Steve-O on Twitter. These came in very, very late, but I'm so glad you managed to get them in time, Steve-O. Thank you very much for that, my friend. His favourite films with our request. A Clockwork Orange Cassidy. Cassidy is part of a youth gang, but refuses to participate in the oldie ultra violence.
I love the fact he puts refuses because he just would. He'd just stand there, hands in his pockets, whilst everyone else drunk their Moloko and did the old ultra violence. Brilliant.
Die Hard with The Undertaker. The Undertaker teams up with Samuel L. Jackson to stop Simon Gruber. But I want that to be the Undertaker in full early 90s Undertaker gimmick. That's walking slow, everything about it, you know?
What, like early, not American Badass style? I think that would be better.
No. Oh, really? I thought
Yeah.
for comedy value, it'd be better if he was the actual Undertaker.
Yeah, but American Badass, he was quite rotund, weren't he? He'd come back not the best of shape. So
This is true. That high boot that he used to throw used to be a bit of a struggle, didn't he, when he first come back?
It was like
Yeah.
Mick Foley's like drop kick to the knees.
That's it. Steve-O continues. The Rock. Every living creature morphs into the Rock. I bet Dwayne Johnson's had fucking dreams like that, where his missus is another version of himself, so he can just bone himself because he's that far up his own arse.
Do you reckon he looks in the mirror whilst he's at it?
Having a tug.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to picture Dwayne Johnson Dwayne his Johnson.
Dwayne
I bet he
himself
looks
Dwayning his Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
You know that scene from American Psycho where
he's
having
flexing
and he points in at the mirror like that and winking. Yeah, Dwayne does that past every single mirror in life. So of course he's doing.
But instead of pointing, he just raises the eyebrow.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon when he's on the vinegar strokes, both eyebrows go up?
I don't know. Like not just up, but down as well. They sort of go like go crazy.
Like, can you smell what the Rock is coming?
Oh, dear me. Anyway, Steve-O continues. Lock, Stock, and the Two Smoking Guns. Bart and Billy are trying to find enough money to pay back Hatchet Harry.
I mean, that puts a whole different spin on Guy Ritchie's gangster universe.
Imagine the follow-up, though. Imagine like the sort of the sort of loose sequel, wasn't it? Snatch.
Yeah.
You could have Bart Gunn in that fighting like the gypsy character of Brad Pitt because he was in Brawl for All, wasn't he? And he has to throw the fight against Butterbean and gets chinned.
Yeah.
There we go. We could write this stuff, mate.
It does. It rats itself.
Yeah. More though with Billy Gunn, we have super bad ass Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn is going to go on a wild adventure with McLovin.
Jesus Christ! I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see Billy. Surprised we haven't seen Billy Gunn in more TV and movies because he's very photogenic, isn't he? And he's kept himself quite buff. So,
but I think the issue that he would have in movies is probably also the issue he would have. Yeah, he would have that held him back from those main event pushes that he so desperately wanted.
Drugs.
In that he's not really capable of doing anything other than be Billy Gunn, is he?
But when you're Billy Gunn, that's all you need to be.
Well, when you're an ass man, you're an ass man for life.
Yeah, instead of being like Dennis Waterman, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune, he'd be, I'm Billy Gunn, and I'm an ass man. Bow, bow,
bow. Yeah, I'm an ass man. Bow, bow. Fantastic. Steve-O continues. The 40-year-old Virgil.
Oh, I had to swallow some juice then before it was sprayed.
Just for clarity, for people on the audio only version and not watching live, Magsy means he had some of his orange squash. Nothing else is happening there. But yeah, the 40-year-old.
Did I mean that? Who's to know? But yeah, that nearly made me spit out juice all over the camera because that's brilliant. The 40-year-old Virgil.
Virgil is still a virgin, and Seth Rogen helps him lose it.
and then he charges Seth Rogen for the opportunity and wants an Olive Garden gift card.
There you go. Shut Your Mouth Island. The Rock is a mental health patient pretending to be an FBI agent.
I'm surprised he's not pitched that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fucker was in Jumanji, which he had no earthly right to be in.
I didn't mind Jumanji. I thought it was okay. I still like the Robin Williams version better.
By a million
But-
miles.
Yeah, but I thought Jumanji was all right, you know? I mean, it's helped very much by having the ginger lass from Doctor Who in it. She looks wonderful in that movie.
Yeah. Amy Pond.
That's the one. What's her real name? Karen
Karen
Gillan?
Gillan, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in Avengers as well, isn't she?
Yeah, she's blue in that, isn't she? Not my type.
Because that's what's stopping you and Karen Gillan from being a couple. The fact that
Yeah.
you don't like her blue.
Mate, honestly, I'm nothing but consistent, mind. I wouldn't sleep with Smurfette either. It's just the way it is.
What? There's something wrong with you.
Well, you would with Smurfette, would you?
Smurfette was sassy.
Smurfette
As Sharon
would
said,
have been.
you are racist.
Well, Smurfette, I reckon.
And that's not to do with blue people. It's more the brown ones.
Oh, don't stop. Leave it. Because it's not true.
Don't
And you're gonna
out
get me in
me.
trouble with nonsense. Steve also says, Inglorious Bastards. Bobby Roode and his crew hunt down Nazis.
And every time they do a pause where he then throws his arms out and shouts, glorious.
Glorious. Ah, dear me. I did have something pop up then on my... Where are we? Somebody sent us a message. Here we go. It was Chris Mangle, actually, sending us a message via Twitter magazine. And he says, it was Jimmy Valiant with the glass coffee tables in Memphis. Don't know who the WCW stagehand was. I'm thinking of somebody very specific. I'm going to have to go and check it out. We're talking like the first 10 episodes of Shivani's podcast.
Yeah, it was very much a recurring theme. So
yes,
I would look it up.
Yeah. The guy has passed away now because they speak about it on the podcast with I can't remember his name. Who's the host? Conrad Thompson. They speak about it with him, and the guy's son actually gets in contact with the podcast to say thank you.
Stop
for these stories
slagging
about
my dad off.
But there's one story where he finds a pair of ladies' underwear in a car park and chews them up in his mouth and stuff, and all this. It's proper nasty, but it wasn't an actual wrestler. It was somebody else. Max is having a quick look for us now.
I can't find anybody on it, but
I will go back and find out. I will go back. I'm fairly certain they might have even made a T-shirt, so I could go look on their merch store and find something on there, maybe. But I mean, that podcast has been going years now, hasn't it? Must be going 6 years. So
I think, do they sometimes switch JBL in for episodes?
That's
Is that something to
one,
wrestle?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Bruce Pritchard one. Yeah,
I stopped listening to them a long time ago because they became adverts with a little bit of talking.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard before he got rehired by the company was a fantastic podcast.
Yeah, because he shot from the hip.
Yeah, exactly. 83 weeks when it started with Bischoff, that was the same. Really enjoyed that. And I still do listen to bits of Bischoff's. I still quite enjoy that. Tony Schiavone's is just comedy. That's great. Yeah. They do watch-alongs and so on. That's because they tried to do the Bischoff one with Tony Schiavone, and he just kept saying, I wasn't part of the booking committee. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
And that's why that sort of changed. But yeah, I mean, it was good whilst it lasted. But I suppose everything comes to an end, doesn't it, Max?
A natural end, yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I've got, mate. That's all we've got this week from... Well, I say that's all we've got. That was loads. So thank you, everybody. You absolute legends in the CWF. We'll have to scan through the chat, Mags, because I think we've got even more shouts in there.
We've got a bloody lot of shouts, so let's go back. First, I want to pick up on this comment. Pigs Badders thinks there should be a dominatrix Barbie with a realistic 18-inch strap-on, which would be weird because the doll are usually about 12-inch, so it's going to be a bigger strap-on than the actual doll.
Or is he saying that the doll would be realistic size as well?
Which then it goes out of Barbie territory to sex doll like sales.
Yeah, but perhaps Barbie could license it, sex doll Barbie.
That might ruin the brand a little bit.
Maybe.
Then we'll go to Dan here. He says he's amazed that you haven't got in trouble for your Guanji antics.
That is a T-shirt of the Wrestling News Time Machine. There is a movie from the early 60s called The Valley of Gwangi that we're going to review at some point because it looks ridiculously shit and funny and all sorts. And it gets mentioned on every show now, even though we've still not seen it yet. So there's a reference to that, and it's on a T-shirt and so on. So yeah, pretty much at any point that could get taken down. So if you want one, buy one quick.
Yeah. So Dan then says, glad that I got his Rosemary reference. The joke worked on multiple weapons levels, sir. So then we've got Benny Mac coming with Citizen Kane, a classic. Pig's Bladder saying Obafemi speaking with an American accent is surreal. Is
he doing that? Is he?
I haven't watched NXT like properly for a few weeks, but I thought there was still the tinges of his original accent. So yeah, but he's on Great American Bash this weekend anyway, so perhaps we'll hear more of him there. Good one here from Dan saying Wizard of Oz starring Kevin Nash as the Wizard. I mean, we've already we've had that and it kind of didn't work.
Yeah.
But it's worth another try, I suppose. Pigs Banner says the prodigal son starring Shane asking Vince for a job. Or even better, Shane trying to kill himself for his father's love.
I think we've seen that movie. It was called King of the Ring 2001, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and that's sending me off on a tangent. In the SJP media WhatsApp group, I think, or it might have been the Bang Bang WhatsApp group, Scottish Danny, one of our very good friends, put a link up to a Chris Van Vliet episode that was released today, and it was an interview with Steve Blackman, who very rarely does interviews, very rarely does conventions, basically has left the wrestling world behind him. What a brilliant interview that is. That guy is an absolute, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, just absolutely superb. And he talked about his match with Shane McMahon and just how death-defying and just didn't give a shit that Shane McMahon actually was. I mean, he talks about going up the Tantron and he's absolutely shitting himself. He's covered, he's sweaty, he's losing grip on the Tantron, and Shane just falls off backwards we've seen the iconic image. But he only has a very small area to aim for because the crash mat is set away from the Tantron. So if he mistimes it, there's a huge gap where he just hits concrete, and then around the crash mat, they framed it with plyboard. So if you hit the plyboard, you break an arm or break a leg, and then he has to do an elbow drop, and he's got even less of a window to aim for because obviously Shane's took up some of the gap. And he said if he any kind of mistiming or any kind of like error in his drop, and one of them was getting seriously injured. But yeah, brilliant interview. Absolutely brilliant. So definitely go and check that out.
Scottish Danny was that, did you say?
Scottish Danny put the link in the chat, but it's the Chris Van Vliet Insight interviews.
Yeah, I remember him, Scottish Danny. We used to do a show together a while back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
he doesn't reply to me. I don't hear off him.
He's a person non grata. Give him a message. Give him a message. Then we've got American Nightmare Pie from Benny Mac. Is that where we catch Cody shagging an apple pie? Yeah.
And that's it. No context, no beginning to the film. No, just a 3-minute clip. That'll do.
I mean, with his dick in a pie.
Yeah.
Dan, Mad Max Moon. I mean, Max Moon was always mad anyway, so that could just be Max Moon.
Any reference of Mad Max, Max Moon makes me laugh.
Brock Back Mountain. Now, if Brock were ever to turn to that persuasion, whoever he's on the mountain with is getting fucked, aren't they? Whether you wanted it or not, you are getting some cowboy gay sex.
See, I imagine more so that it's him and Vince together. Just going through videos on their phone, and the mood takes them where the mood takes them.
Like doing mutual masturbation, pissing on each other and filming it.
Shall we move on?
We shall. To a totally different kind of movie. Mama Ria. Here she goes again.
That
That's a good
deserves
shout.
applause. That is Mama Ria. That is fucking brilliant. I love that.
Pigs Banners. Ernest the Cat Miller in a hat.
Oh, that's good as well.
As long as he wears his red shoes to get that extra power in his kicks. Then we've got Dirty Dom Dancing, where Dom tries to win Rhea back with dancing and hires Fandango to teach him. Fandango was quality.
Oh, so good.
Fandango was brilliant.
Yeah.
Benny Mac again with Ric Flair Witch Project. That's where you go searching in the woods and you find Ric Flair windmilling somebody in a hut.
And just an air stewardess stood in the corner crying.
Sobbing. Absolutely sobbing. Good cop, bad cop. So this will be Graham says, evening, gents. Lost track of time doing some house cleaning. Hold on. Are you still on the NWT? Heading back for a short to the start at Town 2 to catch up. Well, we'll see you very, very soon. So Pigs Banner said, yeah, Obafemi first appeared on Level Up or something with an American accent. Oh, so he did the American accent. So he's putting on the native accent then. Or he's emphasizing it, I suppose.
Okay. It's weird, isn't it, when they get him to do that? Why did they do that?
Yeah, he's said in his next one, only when he appeared on NXT was he Nigerian. Yeah, scummy move that. Dan Griffin says that Steve Blackman interview is immense. I can't believe he wrestled so long suffering chronic migraines. Yeah, again, I emphasize everything that Dan says. Go and watch that interview. It's so good. So he had bone spurs in his neck, and every day he had migraines, and he would wrestle one night and then be in immense pain for the next 2 nights, then wrestle again. He would have to sleep with a tennis ball like balanced on his neck just to find that one small point where he could get comfort from it. Otherwise, he said it's just like being stabbed in the neck all the time. But he's in real life, he's not as intense as his character was. And he talks a lot about how head cheese got over and how he got screwed over a couple of times because of people bad mouthing him backstage, how he basically beat up JBL in an airport. So yeah, he had some proper. I
love that story.
He had some really good tales though. Yeah, so definitely go and watch it. And then we'll finish with this one for now with Graham when it decides to come up. He says, I'm way behind, but from the little I saw of the Barbie, I imagined it to be very much like taking mushrooms, to be honest. I don't intend seeing it, and now I've heard that there's multiple Kens, and that makes me not want to see it even more.
It's not worth it, mate. Waste of time. Load of shit.
Well, I won't waste my time then.
Cool. Glad we got that out of the way. Magsy, shall we talk about wrestling then, or have you got any?
Well,
I haven't. I can't think of any.
I've got a few. Let's have a go. So I went with There Will Be Blood and Guts.
Okay, yeah.
Taxi Michinoku Driver. L.A. Night, yeah, Confidential. Reservoir Dirty Dogs, where it's Dolph and Bobby Roode as Mr. Pink and Mr. White. Requiem for an American Dream, where Dusty Rhodes gets high as a cat, and we see the aftermath. Singing in the Rains, which instead of being Gene Kelly and whoever the other dancer is, it's Roman and Luther Reigns.
Brilliant. Roman and Luther as well. That's commitment.
Singing in the Rains. That's why it's that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
El Grande Americano Beauty, where Chad Gable strips off and covers his bits with rose petals. Terminator 2, The Judgment Day, where Arnold Schwarzenegger tries to kill Finn Balor. Then I've got Al Snow and Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which could also be an album.
It could. Yeah.
Then I've got The Rock, which is where a WWF World Champion stroke chemical warfare expert foils an attack on Alcatraz Island. And then last one I went with The Wizard, which is the video game one where they introduced the Power Glove. But instead of it being the starring Fred Savage, I wanted it starring Randy Savage. So he'd be like, "Oh yeah, the Power Glove.
Oh, the glove.
It's so bad. Dig it."
It helps me when I hold my cup of coffee.
Cream rises to the top.
The cream. Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. Fair play to everybody in the chat, everybody on Twitter, via WhatsApp, X, whatever, and Magsy, your list there as well. Absolutely superb. You gang of clever bastards. That was some brilliant fun. I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Awesome stuff.
Let's talk some wrestling.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Has that took too long for you? Is that
no?
I
just
part of the show
because you'd already tried it. I knew it was coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought I would
just jump on in there.
On you. Yeah.
Magsy, you'll be pleased to know after last week's upsetting moment and upsetting news, I have found myself another notebook to make my notes with.
I thought you were going to say after last week's upsetting poll where you didn't win.
Oh, well, yeah, there is that. I lost the poll again.
Even though 100% of the comments in the chat were in favour of your pick. I mean, there was one comment, and it was Matt, and he was in favour of it.
Yes,
did it quite go like that, did it?
No. I actually voted for your selection myself, though.
And I voted for mine as well.
Okay. Well, there we go then. So Matty's selection won, and we head to the WWF UK Rampage show in when was it, April of 1992?
Yep, I think it was. It was kind of like the WWF's. They used to come to the UK post WrestleMania for like a little tour, so it was that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's an interesting show. The whole thing is available on YouTube, and for me, it's a bit of a weird one because we're not completely out of the Hogan era at this point. I mean, anyone who understands the business and watches these shows back and knows how the timeline of the WWF works and so on, is fully aware that the Hogan era is gone. It's dead and buried, even though he still comes back for WrestleMania 9 and all that sort of stuff. But we're moving on here. But we haven't quite moved on to Bret Hart winning the world title, Yokozuna being champion, Shawn Michaels and Razor putting on some barnstormers, and we haven't quite hit that new generation, as they call it, era just yet. So it's a really interesting
stink of Hogan
in time, isn't it?
Yeah, the stink of Hogan is still wafting in the air.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting show. But we're looking at the WWF title match from that show. We have the newly crowned champion, Macho Man Randy Savage after he won the title from Ric Flair at WrestleMania 8, and the newly single wrestler now, Shawn Michaels, who has only been out of the tag team, the Rockers, for a few short months. The barbershop split happening in December of 91, even though it didn't air on television until the January of 92, around Royal Rumble time.
But this shows, I think this shows just how much stock Vince had in Shawn, even at early in his single career, that he knew 3 months into Shawn being a solo wrestler that he was ready to at least be in that title scene, if not ready for the title just yet, but could certainly keep up with the champion.
You got to think as well the timeline of this. 92 is such a fascinating time for me, because you got the 92 Rumble, which is fantastic. The 92 Rumble itself, to me, is probably still the best Rumble out of all of them. I mean, there's shouts for 2001. There's some later ones that I really enjoyed as well.
97, maybe.
Yeah, 97 I really enjoy as well, actually. That's really good, yeah. But 92 I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
And you got Flair going from 3 till the end, and the star power in 92 for the time was an incredible collection of wrestlers in that Rumble. Then you got Hogan supposedly having his last match at WrestleMania 8 a few months later, with Savage and Flair in the mid-card wrestling over the world title.
Yes. And then it's the world title's in the mid-card here again.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
And then later in the year, it's in the mid-card again at SummerSlam.
Well, this is it. I mean, I think here and SummerSlam, it's a little bit different because they want the Bulldog on last, don't they? Because they're in the UK.
Yeah, I get that, but you would at least put this match higher up than the piss break match, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
and also
dab in the middle of the card.
SummerSlam 92, when it aired in the States, they had cut it up and edited it that the world title match did finish the show and the Bulldog match was earlier in the card. So,
I mean,
you sort of
the Bulldog match
timeline though.
Yeah.
So you got that huge event at SummerSlam, but then you get to October, and October is where it's really heading for the future, because Bret wins his first world title in October from Ric Flair, and Shawn Michaels wins his first singles title by beating the Bulldog for the Intercontinental Championship as well. And we're kind of off to the races with the two guys who are going to be the main event, I suppose, of the show for the next few years.
Yeah.
But here, we're sort of post-Hogan, but we're not there yet. It's a really weird little snippet in time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Normally, the WWF would have the next crop of main eventers ready to slot in, but it's almost as if Hogan and his decision to up sticks has not left them enough time to build Michaels and Bret. I mean, but then saying that, we've still got Randy Savage. Randy Savage goes into this match as champion. I mean, he's elite level. They still had Flair. Flair was still in the company. So
they were trying the Warrior as well again, weren't they? Around this time,
so the stars are there, but this seemed to be like a huge push to make Bret and Shawn ready as soon as possible.
Yes, indeed. Shawn comes out again. This is going to be a reoccurring theme for me. I watched more of this event than just this actual match. Okay. This is such nostalgia for me. This is I always figured that it was around this time that I got massively into the WWF first time round in my life.
Okay.
And I have certain memories, but I've got videotapes from before then that I used to play as well. So my memories kind of get a bit blurred as to what I fell into, what I liked, and so on. Watching this event has made me realise this is it. This is the era that hooked me. It's pure nostalgia for me. Absolutely, just pure nostalgia. The guys on the card, the Mountie, IRS, the Bulldog, all these guys. The colours as well. My God, this is like
It's
this is
cartoon.
like,
This is the
yeah.
epitome of Bret Hart's cartoon world of wrestling.
It's as though the production crew for Saved by the Bell vomited on a wrestling promotion. The colours are everywhere. It's absolutely insane. We've got Shawn wearing his original singles gear, so the white with the red and that white leather jacket,
and the kind of
and
almost like thumbprint, like pattern on the pants.
yeah. Sensational Sherry is with him as well, which is, I think, an absolute masterstroke. As much as we all hate Vince McMahon for what he's done away from wrestling, and sometimes for what he's done in wrestling, there are moments where that guy was a fucking genius. And insisting Sherry Martel worked with Shawn Michaels, despite Shawn saying he didn't want that, was an absolute masterstroke, because Sherry really advances Shawn's career, I think, but also
she is
wonderful.
indispensable to Shawn in the early parts of his career, as she was with the whole storyline with Macho and Liz. For a valet, which can sometimes just be arm candy, she puts in the graft. She's so good at forwarding storylines.
There's some really fascinating quotes from Shawn Michaels' book as well that I wanted to bring up just quickly about Sherry. Shawn writes in his autobiography that he didn't want Sherry involved. He was breaking away from the Rockers because he wanted to be a singles competitor. He didn't want to rely on anybody else. Vince was very much a case of, no, we're going to have Sherry with you. She's been with Savage. She's been with Ted DiBiase. She's been associated briefly with Flair. She'll give legitimacy to your character. And also, when you're on the road and you're working the house shows every night of the week, she's going to be there to guide you when you get a bit lost. And Shawn was like, I don't need guiding, what are you on about? And he writes in his book again about he was a bit arrogant about this, potentially. And then he tells a couple of stories where he would work older guys, maybe sort of territory guys is the wrong term, but people who would take liberties with him in the ring.
Yeah.
During his solos run, who's this young upstart coming to take my spot? And especially when they were working the house shows, maybe some local talent he'd work with or something like that.
Yeah, trying to put him in his place.
Yes, and they'd be a bit rough with Shawn, or worse still, according to Shawn again in his book, they wouldn't sell for him. So Shawn would often get told by Sherry in the corner, throw them outside. So Shawn would then do what Sherry says, throw them outside, and Sherry would fucking paste them. She would kick the shit out of them with her heels. She'd legit rake their face and their neck with her nails. And then she'd basically tell them, send the message, you do what Shawn wants you to do in that ring. Put them back in, and they would then coexist a bit more. There was also the famous posing that they used to do before the match, where Shawn would strike the pose that he still does right the way through his whole career, down on one side, the biceps pose and all that. And Sherry would stand behind him. That very quickly developed into Sherry getting thrown to the floor quite physically and then posing and looking up at Shawn. That was all Sherry's idea. And apparently she used to get really cross with him because he wouldn't do it, including this particular time in his run. He wouldn't do it because he was scared of hurting her. So she slapped him backstage and said, stop being such a tart, effectively. I'm tougher than most of the guys back here. I say throw me to the deck to make you look good. You fucking do it.
Very much in the Mae Young mold of female wrestlers, where she deserved the same amount of respect as all of the men wrestlers. And I think it's Sherry's pivotal in Shawn Michaels developing that Heartbreak Kid character.
Oh, yes.
Because if you are calling yourself the Heartbreak Kid and you don't have a female valet who oozes that sexuality that Sherry did,
And Thorne's
I
all
don't-
over him as well.
Yeah, I don't think that character gets over as well. So I think she's quite pivotal to his early career.
And let's not forget as well the entrance theme. We all know the Shawn Michaels theme tune now, sang by Shawn himself.
I
and so on.
marked out when I watched this match for the first
so
time,
good.
and it's Sherry singing it because
Absolutely
it's
fantastic.
brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So again, he wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Sherry singing it in the first place.
Apparently, there is a version out there with Vince singing it. There's this myth about a version where Vince had a go at some of the vocals.
And I bet he was masturbating furiously while singing it.
Oh, 100%. Well, just crying into a mirror with a picture of Shawn on the side. Yeah.
He's my sexy boy. Sexy
and a
boy.
wonderful, brilliant, a wonderful little fact as well that I'm sure many people are aware of, but just in case for those who are unaware, it was at least partially, maybe fully, written and produced by Jimmy Hart, who did a great deal of music back in the day for the WWF and WCW and so on. The Shawn Michaels version you hear now is Shawn singing, and the Sherry one as well. But the Shawn Michaels version that you hear that he uses now, the supposed female backing singers,
it's definitely Jimmy Hart.
It's all Jimmy Hart.
Yeah,
he says that he was the only other person in the studio. He provided the female backing vocals.
He's got that voice.
And then just layered it so it sounded like there was 4 or 5 people singing it, but it's literally just Jimmy Hart singing the backing vocals, the women's parts in Shawn Michaels' theme. That is fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. What a stupid, silly fact.
But it's totally believable.
Yeah, 100%. Savage comes out to a huge reaction from the crowd, looking like a fruit salad sweet. He's incredibly colourful, isn't he? Very early 90s, incredibly colourful.
And then a little bit of a sad fact that this is, I think, the final time that we see Miss Elizabeth actually in the WWF.
Okay, I was going to ask you about this.
Around this time, Savage and Elizabeth's divorce was going through. So I've looked on the next shows going forward, and it does seem that this was the last time that we see Elizabeth on WWF programming till she rocks up in WCW.
Which is a few years, mind, isn't it? Because Savage gets her the job with WCW.
Yeah, and they divorced for quite a while as well.
He doesn't arrive in WCW till I want to say mid to late '94. Savage, maybe. Is that right? Something like that.
And then she's brought in about 18 months, nearly 2 years after.
She works a bit with Flair, joins the NWO, and okay. Okay. She had. Don't get me wrong. Everyone loves Miss Elizabeth, but she made a career and was very famous and made a lot of money from doing a whole lot of fuck all, didn't she? Let's be honest now.
So I was watching this earlier to refresh my memory, and Mrs. Maggs was not so much watching it, but catching little bits of it. And she's not a fan of Miss Elizabeth because, in Mrs. Maggs' words, what's she actually doing? She does nothing. She does absolutely nothing. She doesn't add to anything. Exactly. So what she said, she made money for just not getting involved. She doesn't get in the ring. She doesn't do anything like that. She was the second most popular character on the show at that time, though.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. This, I think, is a really, really good advert for just WWF style early 90s wrestling. Mm-hmm. I think you got your heel, who are valet, you got your babyface champion. They've got X amount of time to fill. You know you're not going to get a title switch here, regardless of how the commentators try and build it up. It's just simply not going to happen. But they still go out and manage to put on a good show by doing a lot of simple things very, very well, don't they, Max?
Yeah, this to me felt like Shawn Michaels' audition to see the level that his singles career could possibly take. Now, obviously, we all know that Vince had a massive boner for Shawn Michaels, and he was going to push him to the moon. But I think this was throw him in at the deep end early in his career, see if he can hang with the big boys. It's almost like impress me, and we'll take it from their kind of attitude from Vince. And to be fair, whilst it's not Shawn's finest work by any stretch of the imagination, he definitely shows that he belongs in that category with the likes of Brett and with the likes of Savage at this time.
Yeah, I agree. He's bumping all over the place early on, isn't he? And bumping hard as well. Like just off a shoulder block, he hits the mat so stiffly. And then this carries on for the opening moments of the match before we get Shawn thrown over the top rope, but he catches the top rope and it does the whole skinning of the cat and swings back in before Savage clotheslines him back out anyway, which gets a great reaction from the crowd. The Savage axe handle from the top rope to the floor. Very simple and very safe, really, but looks spectacular still when you see Savage from that angle of the floor stood on the top rope with his arms up as well to give himself that extra height. It's quite spectacular,
which is great camera work as well for the cameraman to get right to the floor to make it look like Savage was dropping 20 foot when it's probably more like 10.
Yeah,
and he's being cushioned by another wrestler, but it does look spectacular.
And that's the whole point, Magsy. That's the whole point. Entertain while staying safe. AEW, again, take note. I like when Shawn takes control for a bit and we have Sherry. That's a quote directly from Vince. And
He's just my
Sherry...
sexy boy. Sexy boy.
How did Jimmy Hart get in here? Damn it. Sherry mocks Savage by doing the whole "ooh yeah" and the thing. Oh my god, she is so good, isn't she?
She was brilliant. I mean, at the time, I probably didn't have the respect for Sherry that she deserves. But going back as a wizened old man and seeing exactly what she brings to matches and what her character work is, she's fucking brilliant. There's a point in this match where she antagonizes the crowd so much that a woman gets out of her seat and comes to the guardrail to chastise Sherry, and Sherry takes it all in her stride, and it has some of the best commentary from Bobby Heenan. Now, just for context, I think Bobby Heenan was pissed throughout this whole show. He's very slurry. He stutters over a lot of his words, but he comes with a cracking line. And when they're talking about this fan getting wound up, and it's like, look, there's two women sharing one dress. And then he goes, oh no, sorry, it's just one huge woman. And it's like, oh, you can't say that now in 2025, but in 1992, that was horrifically brutal.
Dear. It's bad, isn't it? It's bad. It slows down, though, when Shawn is in charge. And I like this. I like this a lot because this is how, put simply, how wrestling can be done. Well, you can work with anyone if you follow certain rules, is what wrestlers I've interviewed and spoken to have said. And one of them is your heel works. Yeah, of course. And one of them is the heel works at a slow pace because they're not supposed to garner cheers. The heel, believe it or not, kids, I know it's difficult to believe in modern day wrestling, but the heel is supposed to be the bad guy. You're not supposed to like them. And they work at a slow, methodical, boring is the wrong term, but leaning that way. So that anything they do is
meant
not
to make
exciting.
The crowd hate them. Yeah. The crowd want to see.
cheers.
Yeah, the crowd want to see fast action.
Yes.
They want to see the face on top. They want to see the heel get the comeuppance. The heel's job is to do everything they can to counteract that. So if that face is half flying and fast paced, the heel grounds them, slows them down, keeps them pinned to the mat. And Shawn, even as young as he is now and not as experienced in singles competition as he ends up being throughout his career, he's got that to a T. He knows how to stifle that crowd excitement, and I think he does a really good job of it.
And then, of course, the babyface, when it takes over, speeds up, does the more flashy moves, gets the cheers.
And we get a massive pop.
It's called psychology, kids. Look it up. You don't need 87 fucking backflips. Again, AEW, I'm looking at you. Randy Savage does a pretty cool slingshot into the corner, and Shawn overshoots and hits his head on the ring post, which I thought looked wonderful. Again, good camera work, Magsy, wasn't it? So you're looking right down the angle.
Well, we're just underneath, just underneath the top of the post, and you see Shawn Michaels' face coming towards you, and that could have easily gone wrong and either looked weak or Shawn did himself some real damage. But no, it was perfect shot, really well done.
Really good stuff. Randy Savage hits quite a vicious-looking running knee to the back of Shawn, which sends him flying over the top rope. Again, he's bumping all over the place, making the babyface look strong and powerful and so on. And we get another axe handle from the top to the floor. Again, looks very spectacular. Back in the ring, we have Shawn Michaels countering an arm drag very cleverly by spinning around his opponent and dropping him to the mat. That was good. 1992. That was quite inventive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is Shawn when he didn't have the back problems that we knew of. So he could pull off some. I mean, he could pull off some amazing moves even with the back problems. But a young, virile Shawn at this time, he's a very talented, innovative wrestler.
This leads to the fist drop from the top rope from Shawn Michaels, which is a throwback to the Rockers, of course, because that was their finish, the double fist drop. So that was quite cool. And we kind of now come to when Sherry gets more involved as well, don't we, Max? And this is, again, fantastic heel shit from Sherry. So good. She's always going to... You see her with Flair, with Savage, with Hogan, with Harlem Heat in WCW, whoever you want to mention. $1 Million Man's another one. She always got involved. That's what she was there to do. And she is so good at it.
I mean, Savage is ejected from the ring and he's leaning against the apron, and she delivers some vicious looking kicks. And they're not even to his midsection. They're literally to his ribs. So these are proper, brutal, powerful kicks from her. Yeah, and she does exactly what she needs to do as a valet manager. She does whatever she can to give her wrestler the advantage, and it's brilliantly done.
She's on the outside. Comes to Shawn's, tries to come to Shawn's defense a few times and so on. We get a ref bump as well, which I don't really know. Was it necessary? Does it really have to happen in this match?
It's Hebner. Hebner has a match, especially a world title match. Hebner will bump. Hogan will pause. Hebner will bump. He loves a bump. Does old Hebner?
I don't think it's. I mean, it's no big issue. It's not. It doesn't take much away from the match, but I don't necessarily think it was needed.
I mean, it gives the opportunity for the whole Sherry and Elizabeth shenanigans, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Savage, after the ref bump, hits the elbow. He's covering Michaels. He's got the match won. This is when Sherry comes in and makes the save.
He counts on pin.
Well, yeah. She takes quite the bump as well, doesn't she, off the ropes at one point? This is when Liz comes down, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, for all the slating of Liz's input to matches, shall we say, she grabs Sherry's leg and she fucking throws her off that ring apron, where Sherry takes a mean-looking bump That looked like it really did hurt Sherry. I mean, she's tough as old boots, but Elizabeth, when she gets involved, it means something, I suppose.
Well, there's two, isn't there? There's the one into the ring, and then there's the one on the outside as well.
Yeah,
and they both look pretty
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Miss Elizabeth being involved gets a huge reaction from the fans. Literally always did.
Yeah.
Savage comes off the top rope with a really impressive looking crossbody block. I really liked that. That looked very good.
It was unexpected as well. I mean,
yeah,
he very rarely pulled out the crossbody, but unfortunately, only gets the 2 count.
Sean follows that up with a top rope move of his own, doesn't he? He goes to the top rope and hits a sunset flip from the top rope, which again looked pretty good as well. That gets a 2 count as well. Savage, when he kicks out, and this blew my mind when I saw this.
Yeah.
He almost runs the ropes like Kurt Angle. He almost runs up the turnbuckles like Angle did in prime TNA time, to spin off the rope and in midair turn it into a crossbody again. I thought that was pretty spectacular.
It's not only that though. He when he kicks out of the sunset flip, he leapfrogs over Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, Savage is a talented wrestler, but you very rarely expect him to be able to do something like that. Then he does like the back elbow, and then it leads up to the almost twisting crossbody kind of move, which I've never seen Savage do that move before or since. Like I said, he does the Kurt Angle where Kurt Angle would run up the ropes and then belly to belly suplex his opponent off the ropes, or how LA Knight does the run up the ropes to do his suplex. But he runs up the ropes and then twists in midair to do the crossbody, and it gets the win.
Yeah,
which
gets the 3 count.
Yeah, which it almost looked like that wasn't meant to happen, because the commentary is certainly a little bit confused. The fans are certainly not aware, because everyone's waiting for the elbow drop off the top rope kind of thing. But yeah, that gets the win, and then we get the post match shenanigans.
Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon very excitedly starts yelling when Savage has Sherry and Michaels by the hair. He starts yelling for a double knocker. So he bangs their heads together. They go falling, and Macho Man poses away with Liz, and there we go.
I mean,
it's
there's also a point in the match where the Brain says something about Sherry or Sean not getting a qualification from Oxford, and then Gorilla Monsoon says, "Well, Sherry is as big as an ox." Jesus Christ,
yeah.
Monsoon, that is the pot calling the kettle black, sir, because you are more ox-shaped than Sherry Martel is. You absolute wronged.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there we go. That ends the WWF title match from Sheffield. We then go on to a match, I think, with Virgil, which is a lovely follow-up.
Well, no,
of course.
We get a little bit of Bushwhackers beforehand.
Oh, God,
Which you can't go wrong with a bit of Bushwhackers. The Bushwhackers
the opener for me, first of all, the screen where it says UK Rampage, then underneath it says, brought to you by, was it Sky and Atari or something like that? That was lovely to see. And then the opener was Tatanka still in his white tights versus Skinner.
Yeah.
Now, nothing screams 1992 WWF Superstars more than Tatanka versus Skinner to me.
Yeah, so
that's so 92.
You said earlier you like to slap on a random TNA pay-per-view to go to sleep to. I'm obsessed recently, and I've been obsessed with it before, but there's a wrestling YouTube channel called, I think it's Wrestle with Andy, and what he's done, he's taken all of the WF wrestling from certain months. So he's got, like, say, all the matches and shows from August of 1991, and they're all like crammed into, like, say, a 2-3 hour video, and they're what I like to just relax to. And some of those videos are brilliant. There's one where the bushwhackers go to a restaurant and they order some food, and there's like a little montage of just how disgusting they are eating the food, sped up, and it's Luke and Butch pulling faces, stuffing chicken down the throat. They were brilliant value. I bloody love the bushwhackers.
Oh dear me. Out of 10, Magsy, what are you thinking?
Now, the result we knew. Shawn Michaels is not quite yet the Shawn Michaels of a few years to go. But for a first go round in a title match, thrown in at the deep end with the bigger names of the company at the time, this is a fun watch.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go for an 8.
Okay. Oh, amazingly, again, you can check my notes. There you go. I've got 8 as well. Look at that.
Which is shocking, because I thought you'd give this I thought you'd give this a 10 all day.
Really? Why? Just because it's Shawn?
Just because it's your boy.
No. I'm nothing, mate, if not sensible and don't pull that face. Yeah, 8 from me as well, mate. 8 from me as well. Really enjoyed this, and the nostalgia factor for me is just fantastic. I think I was about 11 when this aired, and this is WWF superstars. This is watching the wrestling upstairs in my uncle's bedroom when he's getting ready to go out for the night and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, this is my entry into the WWF as a fan as a kid. So loved it, mate. Loved it.
It was a great match. Fun was had by all.
There we go. That was this week. What would you like to link to next week?
Simple, clear. It's been up on the poll before. I think you put it up a long time ago, maybe just as we were getting into the live versions of the show.
Okay.
I want to go with the link as Savage versus Steamboat WrestleMania 3.
Bloody hell, have we not covered that?
It went up against Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 17.
Oh God, what a hard poll that must have been.
Yeah.
Savage versus Steamboat WrestleMania 3.
My original
title, of course.
Yeah. My original pick was going to be Bash at the Beach 1996, but we've covered that.
Okay.
And
yes,
I forgot.
We have covered that. Okay.
But we haven't covered
I'm
Savage versus Steamboat.
I'm amazed that has not been covered.
Yeah. That's criminal. That's criminal that we've not covered that.
Absolutely. My word. Well, I'm in a win-win situation again, the same as I was last week, because I would very happily go and talk Randy Savage versus Rick Steamboat for WrestleMania 3. 100%. So if that wins, glorious. Love it. Or you can vote for my selection, which, I'll tell you what's weird. That is strange. By complete coincidence. WrestleMania 3 was what? End of March 1987?
Yeah.
Yeah. My selection is beginning of May 1987. Only a month or so out.
I mean, it's okay. It's not as close as you made it out to be. I thought you were going to say mine's from exactly the same time of year, but it was Jim Crockett Promotions.
Exactly, mate. It's yours is from 1987. Mine's from 1987. That's quite obscure. That's
it's close.
Yeah, it's a coincidence. It's a nice coincidence. Fuck me. All right, calm down. I had in my mind, because of how much TNA I've been watching recently, I'd like to take a look at some TNA. And I was wondering how could I link to a TNA pay-per-view and so on.
I don't. Were they going in 1987?
Well, this is the thing. I said to the missus before I came upstairs to watch this Savage Michaels match. I wonder if I can link to TNA because I'm enjoying watching some of these old TNA shows. After watching your match that you chose, Magsy, I was on a different mission. TNA was out of my mind. It was gone. I was on a different mission. And my mission was to see more from Sherry Martel. I think she was fantastic in the match we just watched.
That leads into a couple of Pigs Badder's comments because he says we need an episode just dealing with Sherry's career, and Sherry is probably his favourite ballet of all time.
So there you go.
You could please the electorate right here.
Yeah, maybe I've got something here that could interest you. I would like to head back to what is thought to be one of Sherry's top 3 matches. There's the one with Rockin' Robin that people talk about. She had a tag match that involved May as well. So that, but this one intrigued me straight away because of the time it was set and the people who were involved. And it goes a bit longer than the others. So the ladies are allowed to really sort of go out and show what they can do. I would like to go back to the AWA Super Clash 2 event from 1987. And Sherry Martel is defending the AWA Women's World title. And she is
black
taking
and white
on...
people.
It's not. It's the same fucking year as yours. Fuck's sake. Sherry Martel is defending the AWA Women's World title against Medusa. But obviously a very young Medusa here. Pre-WCW Medusa, pre-Alundra Blaze Medusa.
It's Jason and the Argonauts, folks. In black and white, she fights the actual Medusa with snakes.
The actual Medusa with the snakes in her
snakes'
hair.
heads, yeah.
No, it's a good brawl. It's a good old contest. Yeah. And I think we get to see how good Sherry actually was as a wrestler pre-being a valet. So that is my selection for the poll.
We're not going to see that because the folks here at the CWF know better than to pick your black and white bollocks. So we're definitely going to be watching
do you know what,
Savage
actually,
versus Steamboat.
Not only is mine the same fucking year as your choice, mine, if anything, is more recent than your choice.
But we all know WWF's production quality pissed all over the AWAs.
Well, this is quite well shot. This is very well filmed.
Is it?
Yeah.
They had 2 light bulbs instead of 1 in the arena.
And being 87 and being Medusa as well.
Someone brought a pack of candles.
You can't be lighting candles around these girls with that hairspray they got in their hair.
Yeah, not with Sherry. Her hair was incredibly dry. That was a fire risk all of its own.
Picture that, but blonde and bigger. That's what Medusa's got going on in this event. She is like this, mate. She's added a height to her, a foot to her height. But there you go. Those are your options that we are putting forward on this week's Twitter poll. You have Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to WrestleMania 3 for the WWF Intercontinental title, or you have Sherry Martel versus Medusa Michelli from the AWA Super Clash 2 from 1987 for the AWA Women's World title. The poll will be up in the next day or two, I'd imagine. It might even be up later on today because I might get a chance to edit this evening. So there we go. So
you're taking advice from the podcast reviewer guy. Get your polls up early.
Oh yeah, God, found in their research 3 days is whatever. Magsy, shall we dive through the chat or shall we head to a road story?
Let's get through this chat. There's a few to go through. So we've got Graham catching his way up. He says he's way behind now, but from a little or so we've covered that one, haven't we? About Barbie taking mushrooms.
That's right.
Pigsmatter says Harry Smith and the Hendersons. I mean, surely he would be. He looks like he could be the Harry, doesn't he? The Abominable Snowman character.
Yeah.
Graham is also very impressed with Dr. Wu. He says, "Oh my God, that is brilliant." Flash Moore Gordon Webster. That works on quite a few levels. He saved every one of us. And Pig's Bladder then says Sherry is probably his favourite Valley of all time. Sharon said, I thought you said bumming then. I mean, he's talking about Shawn Michaels. He may well have said that. He definitely thought it. He definitely thought it. And if Pig's Bladders gets his way, we definitely will be dealing with Sherry's career in the next episode.
Well, maybe not her whole career, part of it.
One of the 3 matches she had in her career.
She had a lot more. I'm not going to bite.
I'm not biting.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm not biting. It was her only match in Technicolor.
Fuck off. Right, come on. Road Story. Let's go. What do you got for us, Max?
So there's a few versions of this story floating around the wrestling world with very different tales coming from the 2 main parties involved, and then little bits added on from the people who witnessed it. But I'm gonna go pretty much from the horse's mouth and give their version of events. So for a little bit of context, we'll start with the fact that some wrestlers need a gimmick to get over. And then you've got some wrestlers who need a character to help get them over. But then there's some wrestlers who are just simply hard as fuck. And one of these wrestlers was Billy Jack Haynes. This guy didn't have a character. He didn't have a gimmick. He was just simply one tough bastard. And he also had a hat. So let's not forget that. So in the early mid-80s, Billy Jack was working in Florida for the CWF, not affiliated with us.
No, sadly not.
And whilst he was there for a few weeks, he was subjected to a few ribs, mainly coming from Mark Rotunda and Barry Windham. But one thing about Billy Jack Haynes is he's not about that bullshit, and he's just not going to take it. He had a quiet word with Blackjack Mulligan, Barry's dad, and said that Barry and Mark were pissing him off, and if they didn't stop, they were essentially going to catch these fucking hands. Now, ordinarily, Mulligan would have gone to bat for Barry, with it being his son. But seeing as Billy Jack Haynes was hard as all fuck and would have probably just beat the living shit out of Mulligan, Barry's dad said, look, my son is 6'7", best part of 300 pounds. This guy can look after himself. So we get to the next show.
Part of that shit
essentially. So we get to the next show, and Billy Jack comes back to the locker room. He finds that his wrestling gear has been tampered with. He also notices a sign has been pinned to the bathroom door, and it says on the sign, Billy Jack's dressing room. So Billy goes into the bathroom, and in one of the stalls, he finds his trademark black hat. But unfortunately, his hat is upside down in the toilet, and it's got a massive curly shit in it.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, on the toilet seat, there was another note that says, this is Billy Jack after his match tonight. So Billy, not the kind of person to take this kind of stuff in the humor it's intended, picks up his hat, slams the shit into the toilet, and storms his way back into the locker room. he demands to the whole of the wrestling roster that the culprit reveals himself. So we get Brickhouse Brown, who is gesturing with his eyes towards Barry Windham. So Billy goes up to Barry and asks him if it was him. And then Barry stands up, trying to kind of intimidate Billy Jack, squares up to him and says, I'm running things down here, and you can't take a fucking rib. So this is when Billy Jack proceeds to beat the living shit out of Barry Windham, drops him with 3 punches to the face, drags him by his neck to the bathroom, and proceeds to cave his brains in headfirst into the sink.
Oh my word!
Mark Rotunda, obviously Barry's rib partner in crime, comes and tries to stop Billy, essentially killing Barry Windham. But by doing that, he grabs Billy by the arm and attempts to almost give him a Kimura lock by forcing his arm up behind his back and saying to Billy, if you don't let him go, I'm going to break your arm. Billy drops Barry Windham like a sack of potatoes, powers out of Mark's arm bar control, at which point Mark realizes he's next on the chopping block and runs out the door, and in Billy Jack's words, busts out the door like a chicken shit. Not long after this, both Barry and Mark leave the territory for the WWF, whereas Billy Jack continued to be pushed as a huge star in both the CWF and the Pacific Northwest territories. So yeah, my roster of today is 6'7" Barry Windham getting the shit kicked out of him by Billy Jack Haynes.
That is amazing. Imagine taking a shit in someone's hat and thinking you can get away with it. Especially a guy like Billy Jack Haynes, man.
Yeah, I mean, the King. I mean, there's a classic story of him on his debut pay-per-view match for WWF not coming out with his crown because someone would take a massive dump in it. Probably Mr. Perfect, but
probably yeah.
But yeah, if there's one person, and I've watched multiple people. Black Bart spoke about it. Brickhouse Brown has done a video about it. Said of all the people in that CWF locker room, the last person to piss off was Billy Jack Haynes, because he was genuinely one of the hardest men to ever wrestle. And if Blackjack Mulligan wasn't willing to stick up for you, you were fucked.
Oh, dove his head in on the sink. That's class. Oh, Barry, you are daft. Magsy, I love it, mate. I love the road stories to close out the evening. It's glorious stuff. And I've loved this evening. It's been fantastic. My face aches from laughing so much. And that comes down to the brilliance from everyone who's been involved via Twitter or the live chat or whatever, messaging the show, etc., etc. Thank you so much to all of you for getting involved in the non-wrestling topic, voting in the polls, retweeting our stuff, getting involved in the live show, listening back on the podcast version that comes out later in the week as well. Thank you so much. We do have a little bit of new merch out as well. You can find the links on the Twitter page, and of course in the episode description in the podcast version on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. What I do ask though, when people are treating yourselves to a little bit of merch, try and use the links that are up on our Twitter or in the episode descriptions rather than older links you may have from previous purchases, simply because we make more money now than we did back then on our merch. So whereas if you were buying t-shirts before, we might only make £2, or if it was a sale for whatever reason, we'd only make £1.25. Now we're making a little bit more than that, and it is actually worthwhile now doing it, and it really helps with the running of the network. The StreamYard costs money. The
StreamYard are up in their prices quite regularly now.
All the time. The programs that we use for editing, plus all the other programs for designing the merch, designing logos, and of course uploading the podcast audio versions to all the platforms that it carries, so Spotify and all those other places you may listen. That all costs money as well. So running the network, it can be expensive. So if you do feel like treating yourselves, please just dive on it. Go treat yourself to a t-shirt, and it really, really does help us now in the long term. It really does. So thank you so much if you're going to do that. Magsy, before we depart, do you want to let everyone know whereabouts they can find your good self online?
Yeah, before I do, I just want to kind of reiterate something Simon touched on. We probably don't say this often enough, but everyone who watches, even if you just give it a quick glance on Twitter or on YouTube, we peek behind the curtain. We kind of can see how many concurrent people are watching along, and we remember the days when there would be a handful, and we were massively appreciative at that time of those folks. But over the last few months or so, the numbers have grown exponentially, and we're so blown away by everybody's support, and we can't thank you guys enough for it. This is a massive passion project for both me and Sarah. And the fact that you guys come along on this journey with us every week, and even put up with our bullshit when we have to have time off. We absolutely love you all for it, and we will never not appreciate the support that you guys have given. So you are definitely the third man in our CWF/NWO. So yeah, we love you all so much for it. But yeah,
mate. Well said.
If you've got anything to say to me, I won't read it if you post it here to my TikTok. That's the TikTok one, isn't it, Pod Farmer? I think it's the TikTok one. Yeah. If you go on X, I definitely won't read it until the next time this show's on, and I might give it a quick glance. And that's at Pod Farmer, Megs.
There we go. Anything I'm involved in, as always, you can find and follow via the network that carries this show. So that's at SJP World Media on all your social media platforms and your podcast players, platforms and providers. We've got all sorts going on. Loads of TV, music, football, all sorts getting covered. Pro wrestling. Make sure you're checking out the main network feed for all of those shows by some brilliant, really talented hosts. Make sure you're giving them all a chance. But you can also find and follow this show itself on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, and all these other places as well by searching at @chain_wrestling. That's at @chain_wrestling. And that is where you will find your non-wrestling topic, your poll to vote in to decide which wrestling match we head. Because as we always say, this is your show. You shape it, you make it. We just turn up and present what you want us to, effectively. So at @chain_wrestling there. Magsy, I'm off now to go downstairs and probably have a nice cold beer and do a bit of editing. I'll speak to you next week, my friend.
I am now officially a Billy Jack Haynes stan.